Pushing Back the Shadows, support and awareness for mental health. Hello and welcome to episode 34 of the Pushing Back the Shadows podcast. My name is Alex Davis. I'm the founder of Pushing Back the Shadows. So today I'm going to talk to you about a very controversial topic. I have one word to start you guys off. Medication. And it is, isn't it? It's a very controversial topic because really a lot of people take them. A lot of people would say, yeah, okay, do you know what? I need to take them. It helps. And a lot of people would say, no, you should never take them. They're bad. They've got loads of issues, side effects, withdrawal effects, and so on. And it's one of those subjects that really has people on both sides of the fence. And it's one of those that's under constant debate. Just recently on Twitter, I was talking to a couple of people. I'd seen somebody post saying that antidepressants were not going to cure depression. And as somebody who takes them and somebody who doesn't actually believe that they will cure me, I found it a bit of a notion that I took issue with. Let's put it that way. I took issue with it because it's one of those things. I never entered into my antidepressant use thinking that it was going to cure me, and it just struck me as quite bizarre that anybody really would. And so I challenged that, and the ensuing conversation then led me to post a thread saying, well, do you know what is the big hype about this antidepressant rally? And yeah, I know I just said antidepressants, but you can't have enough antis. I decided I was going to up the ante. Yeah, alright, no, I'm going to stop. But, so the medication is something that is under hot debate. I mean, usually it's the first port of call for GPs, isn't it? Doesn't seem to matter whereabouts you are. You go to your GP, they diagnose you with depression or anxiety or some other mental health condition, and pills are usually the first thing that comes from that. They'll make recommendations for therapy, that sort of thing. But normally, if you need something to deal with the anxiety, to deal with the depression, then medication is normally the first port of call, isn't it? And that's come under a lot of flack because a lot of people have said, oh, well, the GPs aren't trained in it. They just kind of throw pills at it and hope that it fixes itself. Even though that's not necessarily the case. You know, sometimes people do need them, but that's something I'll get onto in a minute. But so they are really that first port of call. And it doesn't matter, really, whether you're for them or whether you're against them. You can't deny that they do have their benefits, but they also have their downfalls. And that's something that I'm sure we can all agree on. They have their good sides and their bad sides. They help with the symptoms, but they come with baggage. They ease what you're going through a little bit, but they won't cure it. Do you all agree? Are we on the same page here, or are we on different pages? Because it's one of those subjects that all of us who go through mental health struggles, and all of us who know somebody going through mental health struggles, which if you look at the statistics, that's, everyone. It's something that all of us will have come across at some point during our walk. It doesn't matter whether we're a sufferer, whether we're a friend or a family member, we will come across the subject of antidepressants or anti-anxiety meds or bipolar meds. Whatever medication it is, you've heard about something to do with it. So let's go back to that first notion that I mentioned, that a lot of people believe that they will cure you. And I suppose it's one of these, you think of antibiotics, they cure you. They help you fight off the infection goes away. And I suppose that's where the misnomer comes in. Because it's one of those things that it doesn't cure you, but the name antidepressant might actually imply it. And so a lot of people seem to be under that impression that it will cure them. But then again, a lot of people don't. A lot of people will say, well, no, I know full well what it does. It just deals with the symptoms and lessens them. And that's all it's going to do. So, in this wonderful argument, Godzilla versus Mothra, that kind of argument, or if you're slightly younger, the Silver Surfer versus Galactus, whatever it is, the two sides of it. What is the right treatment? Are meds as bad as they are made out to be? Are they actually good? Or are they actually evil? If good and evil is a thing. Let's have a look. Let's unpack medication and see exactly what the ins and outs are.
You're listening to Pushing Back the Shadows.
So are they what they're cracked up to be? Are they a good thing or are they not? So the first thing that we should note, as I've already said, is they do not cure your mental illness. And they don't. Mental illness is a thing, it's not as easy as just being cured. It's something that takes time to get better. Doesn't it? You have to go through weeks, months, maybe years of treatment before you get better. And even then, sometimes you don't fully get better. It just kind of disappears and then comes back and then disappears and then comes back, round and round on the merry-go-round. But one thing that has to be said for any kind of mental health medication is that it can help with the symptoms. And it can. I've been on sertraline for over a year. I'm also on quetiapine as a mood stabilizer, and both of them help with my depression and my anxiety. They get me into a place where I can actually live a functional life. Because before then I'd be keeping myself to myself, trying to hide away in the flat as much as possible, or turning to self-harm to cope, having panic attacks, and everything kind of along those lines. But these get me into a place where, alright, I need something from the shops, I can go and get from the shops. I need to, get on a bus, I can get on a bus. Whatever it is that I couldn't do before, I can do again. And that is partly down to these meds. Whether I like it or not, that is part of it. Because, and this is almost a funny thing really, but taking them, they put me back to how I was. Not completely, but put me back to how I was before my breakdown. They don't cure the symptoms. The symptoms are still there. If I stop taking them, I'm going to go backwards. At least I'm 98% convinced of that. But it's one of those things where they do help. However, they come with a lot of baggage. Now, I'm not saying this is the case for everybody, because some people work with different ones. It's just the way it is. But some of the typical side effects that you find with some of these medications include things like weight gain, drowsiness, muscle cramps, headaches or stomach aches or any other kind of aches. And it's really not funny, but this always does make me smile. The antidepressants can cause depression or worsen symptoms of depression. They can also cause anxiety, insomnia, or suicidal inclinations, or self-harming tendencies, those sorts of things as well. Which, given that something's meant to be kind of helping with the symptoms, that does seem a bit strange. But I suppose it's a balancing act, and you're trying to tip your brain back into balance. But what happens if you tip it too far? If the medication's too strong? Do you see what I mean? That's my understanding of it anyway. But so they do come with a lot of baggage, and so when I started the sertraline, I had stomach problems, and oh my goodness, you would not believe it. It was just that bloating feeling. I wasn't hungry. I was getting stomach ache to the point where I'm, wrapped around a hot water bottle, and that wasn't good. And then introduced the quetiapine. The first time I took the quetiapine, I ended up with migraines, proper migraines during the whole settling in period. Admittedly, when they started me, the dose was too strong, and we still haven't figured that one out. But so they do come with a lot of side effects. And as I say, different ones work for different people. I mean, I tried citalopram, I tried mirtazapine, and neither of them really worked for me. Citalopram didn't even scratch the surface. I might as well have been taking, sugar tablets or placebos for the amount of effect that it was getting. Mirtazapine helps with the insomnia, because that is also used to treat insomnia. It's part of the gives you drowsiness as a side effect, but it didn't really do enough for the depression, so we get on to sertraline, and it's working well. I'll be honest, it's working well. I mean, admittedly, it needs the mood stabilizer with it, which is where the quetiapine comes in, but so different things work for different people. Some others would respond very well to citalopram, some don't at all. I mean, I read a story the other day where somebody had actually had psychosis induced by the citalopram. So it's very much a trial and error game. And I suppose that's also part of where people get the problems with the medications, where they don't like them, because unlike, you get, trying to think of a good example, but you get the flu. You get a flu jab. You get an infection, you get antibiotics, and it's more or less one of those things where mental health is a lot more difficult because there are so many medications, so many different things that people respond to. It's almost very much that kind of guessing game, and as I said, trial and error. The other thing that people tend to say about the antidepressants and the other meds is that they do have withdrawal effects. In a similar way that you kind of have that adjustment period when you start them, as I mentioned, the migraines and all that for me with quetiapine, you also have that withdrawal stage as well. And it's one of those things that people aren't necessarily prepared for, because the doctors don't really prepare you for that, do they? I mean, I don't know, you might be lucky, you might have an absolutely brilliant doctor. Mine didn't mention it at all. Absolutely nothing. I know that they'll say they put the leaflet in the box and you're supposed to read the leaflet, but come on, it's like nearly an A4 page. Whoever reads the leaflet? In fact, if you do read the leaflet, I'd love to know, because, do you know what, I don't think I know anybody who actually reads the leaflet. But so, they don't tell you about the side effects. I wasn't told that I may get headaches. I mean, there were days when I couldn't get out of bed, but then when I phoned up and said, well, look, I think I need to come off this, he said, okay, well, you could stick it out for a week, and then the side effects should abate, or you're probably going to get the withdrawal effects for a week. So it was kind of one of those damned if you do, damned if you don't. But nobody's really prepared for this, and that is one of the biggest bugbears, really biggest bugbears that people have. So those are just a few of the good points, the bad points, and really, they can help. Sometimes they don't. Some people need them long term, some people don't. But really, what place do they have in mental health treatment? Should they be used? Shouldn't they be used? I've talked about this before, so some of you may know the answer already, at least the answer that I'm going to give, because at the end of the day, it's just an opinion. I don't have all the answers, and I don't claim to have all the answers. But let's see what I think. Let's see where I think antidepressants place in mental health treatment.
You're listening to Pushing Back the Shadows.
You go to the doctor and he gives you antidepressants to treat your depression, or he gives you anti-anxiety meds to treat your anxiety, or whatever else it is that you're given. Is that good? Is that bad? Well, one thing that I always say, and I always come back to, and this is something that I will take up with anybody, absolutely anybody who tries to tell somebody what their treatment plan should look like. It's whatever works for you. Whatever works for you. So you, as I say, you go to the doctor, he gives you antidepressants, you start taking them, and you find that you really get on with them. They help. They do everything that they're supposed to do, and you're finding that you can cope. You're in a stable position, you're able to keep going to work, keep going to social gatherings, and all sorts of other things that you would normally do. That's great. That is great. Because some people, as I've already mentioned, need these things for life. I know a few people who are on them for life, because even after the withdrawal effects have finished, they're still going downhill. And almost every time that you tinker with the dose, they go back downhill. I do know a few people like that. But really, with medication, a lot of people say that you should combine it with something like therapy. And it kind of makes sense, because medication itself is like the plaster or the splint on a broken leg. Plaster on a cut, splint on a broken leg. I know what I'm trying to say here, people. But that's what it is. It's the short term, it's the temporary fix. And that is, of course, excluding the people who do need it long term. But it is designed as a temporary fix, if you like. It's meant to be almost the delaying tactic. So while you're in the waiting game for therapy, while you're waiting for the therapy to actually start working properly, you use the antidepressants. Don't you? Because that in itself is what you need. Really, it should be combined with something like therapy, because therapy is more like the plaster cast. It's for want of a better word, it's the techniques to restructure your brain, to change the way you're thinking about these things, to get it all out from inside your head so that you can start moving past it. At least that's what I'm told. Other people would say go down the route of meditation, or there's loads of other things that you can do. And even though people do say you're supposed to combine them, I still maintain that you do what works for you. Because at the end of the day, if it works for you, that's the best thing for you. Antidepressants work for me. Therapy is good. I'm not quite so sure. Meditation didn't work at all. So you have to find what works. And for a lot of these people who say, oh, you shouldn't do this, you should do that, you shouldn't do this, really, as long as you've tried things like you've tried the antidepressants and they did work or they didn't work, but you've also tried therapy and that did or didn't work, as long as you've tried these things, that's all right. It is better to try than not to do at all. Because then you can actually turn around and say, well, do you know what? I did try, it didn't work. And that's okay. Because it's alright if it doesn't work as long as you've tried. So in an ideal world, medication should be used as a short-term solution. With waiting lists being what they are, and with some people's, whether it's chemical or psychological makeup being what it is, sometimes they are needed for longer terms, potentially even life. But on the whole, yes, they come with a lot of baggage. Yes, they have withdrawal effects. And no, they won't cure your depression. But on the whole, are they really that bad? As long as we're informed, and that's the key part, the key thing that I want to leave with you guys, as long as you are informed about what they can and can't do, and what the potential consequences of taking it will be, then really, they're not all that bad, are they? So as always, I've got a couple of links for you down in the description. Those are two of the posts that we've published just based around that particular topic. Might be of interest for you guys to read, but also join me on my Twitter, because I do talk about that, and I'd be interested to hear your thoughts. So if you could tweet me, so that's at Alex Davis PBTS, Davis IES, and let me know what you think of medication, because I've had a lot of responses on this, and I'd be interested to hear your thoughts as well. So that's all from me for this week. Do make sure before you go anywhere that you check out our YouTube channel as well. It's pretty exciting. It launched 2 weeks ago, and we decided that we were going to branch out into video media as well. So you're going to want to give that a look, and I dare say, if you haven't already, you're going to want to subscribe, because there's going to be some great content coming up as well. And I'm actually really enjoying making these videos. Granted, you have to put up with my face, and sometimes the faces of other people, but if you can do that, you're all set. So that's all from me. You take care, have a good week, and I will catch you for episode 35. Bye.
You've been listening to Pushing Back the Shadows. To find out more, head over to pushingbacktheshadows.com and hit subscribe to get all of our latest updates straight to your inbox. Alternatively, connect with us on Facebook, which is facebook.com/Alex Davis PBTS, or you can visit us on Twitter at Alex Davis PBTS. Enable Pushing Back the Shadows to continue supporting people in the mental health community, their friends and their family. By pledging just $1 a month, you could help us to continue supporting people with depression, with anxiety, with bipolar and other mental illnesses. You can also unlock exclusive rewards, behind the scenes, sneak previews of upcoming posts and much, much more. So head over to www.patreon.com/Alex Davis PBTS to find out more.